Hello, in the Good Company podcast. Anna Malus Kitzman here. A little bit a new setup. I'm still working with it, but let's try it for the first episode. I'm kind of confused where should I look because camera is there. And then I also have my computer, which I'm used to looking at. Anyway, in the Good Company podcast, Anna Malus Kitzman here with weekly dose of inspiration, motivation, thought provocation, all with the goal for you and me to have the most beautiful, most aligned, most juicy life. And today, with this new setup, bear with me as I'm going to figure it out. You know, it's all try and error and try again. We are going to talk about yet another lesson from 2025 and before. I think, I did this post on Instagram. I think it's 12 or 13 lesson from last year, but it's kind of like the lesson from last 5 or even 10 years that I'm working through. And I just simply listed them on Instagram, but I kind of want to go deeper here. So the next lesson on the list, last week we talked about, what was it about? I think it was about, this week it's all about being good person and beautiful person, but also just humanly flawed, because that's what we all are. We are humans. So of course I had to put music on this. So last week we talked about about choices, making choices, and that your life choices don't have to be really make sense to anybody else but you. If they feel good to you, if they don't hurt purposely and harmfully anybody else, good choices. They don't have to make sense to masses. They don't have to make sense to your parents. They don't have to make sense to anybody around you. If they make sense, feel good, and not harm others, and they make sense to you. But today we are talking about another lesson that I think that's definitely something I'm working for last 5 or so years on. It's, this idea of allowing yourself to be a good person, a person in progress, a person that is growing, that is healing, and therefore it is, beautifully humanly flawed. And we all are. And few things are coming up when I'm thinking about it. First of all, like for me, it was a very big part of it was the conditioning, religious, and just upbringing as a woman in pretty conservative country I was brought up in. And, just this idea of being a good girl. As a woman, we are so programmed of being nice, always kind, don't ask for things, don't have an opinion, don't really have needs, always serve everybody. And obviously being just like this good girl. And that's one. So the social and religious programming. And then the other for me, like just personal conditioning, again, coming up from my upbringing, kind of narcissistic, emotional, unavailable, or partially environment, the just people pleasing, right? Just trying to be perfect, because when I'm going to be perfect, maybe this person will love me and will see me and will hear me, and we'll see my needs, right? And that this just constant chasing and therefore attracting people who will never do that for me, because I was used to this dynamic, right? That was normal. This chase, this people pleasing was normal. Not normal anymore, thank you God. But that also programmed me into this idea of, always trying to be good, always trying to be perfect, and even more perfect, to be more accepted, to be more loved, or loved at all, right? And as I am growing, as I am healing, as I am expanding lately, to be honest, allow myself purposely and consciously make choices that I knew that are not the best for me, not the best for people around me, to kind of, it's just, it obviously it wasn't that bad, but it was just this idea of I can be not a good girl and still love myself on the other side, and still be able to repair after, and still be able to love myself after, and change my behavior and fix it and repair it with others, right? And obviously I did it purposely, which was my curiosity and just weird approach to life of like testing and researching by myself and just feeling myself. Also, it was extremely healing to me. It wasn't like a weird, stupid research and curiosity. It was extremely healing that after the situation that I purposely chose to not be the kindest, the nicest, the most aligned with my values person, I repaired and I, as much as I could, and then I loved myself through it and after it. And I forgive myself and I ask for forgiveness on the other side, right? So that was a really interesting, interesting experience. And that made me think about it that, we are, as people, are not, we are flawed, that's why we love religion. That's why we love go every weekend to church for people to remind us and tell us what to do, how to be better, because we are flawed. And again, I almost feel like purpose of everyday life, besides many other things, is also just trying every day to be this best person, best version of you. And it's not always to be the best and the perfect, right? And then you have to, and we should love ourselves through it. What other thing comes up with me is, sometimes we put people on pedestal, and it happened to me many times. But also I'm thinking about like celebrities or religious people or spiritual leaders. We like to put them on pedestal and think that they are, flawless and perfect, and they don't have any human, almost any human traits and behaviors. And that's not true. People like spiritual leaders are very much so committed to spiritual work. They're definitely working on themselves daily, more than probably 99% of everybody else, but they are still human. They are still have flaws, and they still have some kind of humanity and beautifully human behaviors in them. And I'm not saying to justify any behavior, but for us not to put other people on such a high pedestal that when they are showing these human behaviors, they're falling so down, but they are falling so much down, and they are such a disappointment. We are so disappointed and broken, and our system of values is broken, and we are just so distraught and again disappointed, because it's kind of our fault, like we put it that high, we put that much, idea of them being perfect and ideal, and all the behaviors being just incredible and above all else, that when something else opposite happened, we are just almost devastated. And that happened to me also with people. That's why sometimes with my kids, I like to show them my human part and my human side, like I like to show them that I sometimes, I'm not sure about things, and I ask for advice, not them, but I am showing that sometimes I am angry, that sometimes I am sad about things, right? And that it's all okay. It's all how we coming out of it, how we treat it, how we coming out of it on the other side. And I think, again, it's not about justifying and make it okay any kind of flawed behavior, but sometimes things happened, and being able to love ourselves through it, understand it, being able to repair it, then it allows us to repair it with others, with ourselves, forgive others, forgive ourselves. That's the whole point of it, I think. And again, for me, it was very, very freeing, because I was so, programmed and so focused on this just good girl and just trying to aim for perfection all the time, everywhere. And it was just exhausting too, to be honest. It was just exhausting. So it was like a very healing experience to kind of purposely kind of go to this darker side, and then like dip into some kind of behaviors that it wasn't, I knew it, I consciously knew it is not aligned with my values, it's not who I am really, and it doesn't even feel by the end of the day good. That's why I repaired it and kind of fix it, upgraded it. But again, it's all about like seeing ourselves fully, not pretending, not aiming for this ideal perfect version of ourselves, but the best we can. And then when something comes up, being able to deal with it, again, repair it with everybody else around you, whoever is involved, and yourself, and forgive yourself, and then ask for forgiveness and say I'm sorry, and etc. So yeah, allowing ourselves to be just beautifully, beautifully human, because this is also part of this juicy life, that sometimes we are not the best version of ourselves. And this is this is the messy part. This is where you bite the peach and the juice is coming out of your Hence, this is also sometimes when growth lies, right? For me, this idea of tapping into kind of like not the best behavior of myself was very growing, because again, it allows me to meet myself fully on the other side, lovingly forgive myself, move on, repair, and kind of be loved still, allowing myself to see that I can still be loved after whatever I decided to do that is not the perfect version of me. So this is a shorty, I hope. I don't know how many minutes is already, but allow yourself to, again, strive for best version of yourself every day, best possible. That's why I do rituals. That's why I do meditations. That's why I do my morning whole routine to make sure I'm setting myself up for best of the best. But sometimes it's not possible. Even I'm thinking sometimes, this astrology of February is so crazy that I'm like, after something, I don't know, I was like screaming at Adam the other day, and then I was like, sorry, it was Mars, it wasn't me. Because Mars is moving through something. Obviously, it wasn't. It wasn't an excuse, but I was just joking. But maybe there are also like energies and things and so many things we are, bombarded with and work with and worked against every day, that sometimes it's just there's just so many things that are making us or ripping us apart daily. So many variables for us as a system, and as again a human genius machine system. We are human genius nature machine. I just want to add that, because sometimes I feel like when I say machine, it means very technological, and it's a nature machine. That sometimes it's just a lot to work with. So I just want you to allow yourself to be, again, strive for the best, but allow yourself sometimes to be beautifully, humanly flawed, not flawed, because that's also part of the, most fulfilling, most aligned, most juicy life. Should we